and welcome back to Sundays in the Garden. If you're new, my name's Sarah and on my channel I share all of the things I'm getting up to in my English cottage garden and allotment. It's the Easter bank holiday weekend here, so I thought I'd do something a little different and take you along as I do my gardening over the bank holiday weekend. I've got a huge list of things to do. I definitely won't get all of it done, but I'm going to do as much as I can. We've got some sunshine forecast, some rain, mixture of things really, so I'm just going to get as much done as I can. Got my wet weather coat on so I can do some things in the rain if needed, and I'll take you along and show you what I'm getting up to. My first job of the weekend is to sort out this back right bed, which is currently full of weeds and patio slabs. I put the patio slabs in here to help suppress the weeds over the winter, and actually I think they've done a pretty good job. It's looking a lot better in here than I anticipated had I not bothered. This is what I'm left with, loads of grass with really deep roots and some perennial weeds, so wish me luck. I start by removing the surface weeds. Then I rake over the area to see what I'm left with. Next, I begin methodically digging across the bed from one side to the other, pulling out any grass roots like this. This section is now pretty much done. As you can see, there are still some grass roots over here trying to creep in, but we'll keep those at bay, and this section is now done. On I go now, and look at the size of these grass roots, it's crazy, and that's not even scratching the surface. I've got these huge clumps coming out. I'm just methodically breaking it all up, removing the roots like this. And I'm left with this trench, which is about double the size of the one I just showed you. I've got up to here, and it's now been fully dug over, apart from these little bits here that need to come out. It's ready to go. Look at the amount of grass roots that have come out of just this tiny section. So I'm going to stop now and have a quick cup of tea because it's taken me about an hour to get to this point already. And as if by magic, it's finished. As soon as I finished my cup of tea, the heavens opened and I had to turn the camera off and put it away. This is the remainder of the grass roots that came out of this bed. It took me 2.5 hours. They need to go into this bin now. And then my next plan is to cover this bed with some cardboard to suppress any remaining weeds that could come up. And then I'm going to top up the bed with some compost. So let's get started. Okay, with that all done, it's time to build my new bean arches. These were £12 from B&M, down from £15, and let's see how easy they are to put together. Well, it was surprisingly easy, despite some of the screws being quite tricky to put in, so that's worth bearing in mind if you pick one up. But it's done, it looks great, and I can't wait to see this covered in beans in the summer. So if that's something you'd like to see too, don't forget to subscribe now so you can follow along and see this come to life. But it's going to free up so much space in the bed. And time to head inside now to prepare my tea, using something I'm going to pick from the garden. First, I'm removing the root system. It's absolutely amazing to see something I've grown from seed with this kind of root system. Amazing. Then I'm going to remove the leaves and put those into the compost bin. And then I'm going to rinse the leek under the tap to make sure it's nice and clean. First, I cut up the leek into about 1 centimetre chunks, maybe slightly less here, using as much as I can. Then I take 1 clove of garlic and chop that finely. You can use more garlic and more leek if you're serving more people, but this is just for me. I put the amount of pasta in a pan that would serve myself, and then pop it on the hob and bring it to the boil while melting some butter. Into the melted butter I pop the leek and the garlic. I also put in some pancetta for some extra flavour, and then I'm going to mix this all together and let it sweat down. Next, I'm popping some wine into the pan. This is some Sauvignon Blanc. I'm putting in about 3 glugs. Go with what you feel. I'm going to save the rest for me to enjoy with garden as well this evening. And then I'm going to put some double cream in here. Again, I'm measuring with my heart. Just go with what you feel and then give it a good old mix around. Once the pasta has been done, you can add the pasta into this mixture and then heat it all through so it's lovely and warm and mixed. I'm also adding some water so it doesn't dry out. Then I add some Parmesan cheese for some lovely extra flavour. And then serve up. Once I've served it, you can add some extra cheese. I'm going for some mozzarella, but you could add some Parmesan here. And then enjoy. A Good Friday well spent. It's Easter Saturday, the sun is shining, so I'm up and out in the garden early to enjoy the beautiful weather, pausing to enjoy the beautiful magnolia blossom on my way up. My first job today is to get the second bean archway built, and having done it yesterday, I feel like I know how to approach it all and it won't take too long at all. But I'm going to take my time with it and enjoy this beautiful spring sunshine. It feels so warm and so welcome after a cold and rainy winter. Before I know it, I'm all done and ready to put it in position next to the other one. Before I plant the beans, I'm going to tie these together and potentially add some string or twine to keep them strong. But for now, I absolutely love it. And on to my next job for the weekend, which I may regret starting. But this is the back section of my garden, which is completely overgrown. So I'm going to try and clear a pathway next to the fence, just so that I can paint the fence and access this area a bit more easily. Going through, I'm finding all sorts of things. Logs, parts of trees, and all sorts of plants. So I first cut back the majority of the top foliage and then I'm raking it over to be left with this. And in here are some blackberry canes and perennial weeds. So I'm going to dig them out now, right down to the roots. Ta-da! All finished in this area now. So I'm going to put some slabs down, and I'd like to put some patio slabs all the way along this fence line so that I can access this fence for painting and upkeep nice and easily. Spinning you around now, you can see the issues we've got over here with perennial weeds and stinging nettles and blackberry canes and small trees planted by squirrels. So this needs sorting out. It gets dug over the years, but it just grows back and we need a more permanent solution. So if anyone's got any ideas, please do let me know. So bringing you back down here just to admire this beautiful and much more tidy area. Spinning around, you can see that I've now added 2 patio slabs over here next to the fence, and I'm going to try and dig out some more along here and add some more slabs. But it's time for lunch. See you after lunch. So I've had my lunch and I've now swept this area here between the beds and the undergrowth to make sure that it doesn't grow over towards my beds. And I've also dug out a couple more roots and put in 2 more patio slabs over here, so that's looking much better. Taking a step back to admire the work I've done today so far and thinking how beautiful it looks in the sunshine. Into the greenhouse now, and it's so wonderful to see some baby cornflowers appearing. If you saw my video last week, you'll know the significance of these and how they link to my granddad. Come Coming back outside, I've decided, I'm not sure why, that now is a good time to tackle this bed. It has been accumulating rubbish for many years as it's become the dumping ground in our garden, and that needs to change, and I need to use this growing space this year. So I'm taking out all of the rubbish I can find, raking the surface level weeds to make sure I can get a good idea of what's under here, and then it's going to be a case of digging out all of the grass roots and getting it back to where it should be. I intend to cardboard over this one too to create another no-dig bed, but I've made a really good start, so I'm going to leave it there. This is all the roots I've managed to get out of this bed so far today. Really pleased with that. Back into the greenhouse now, and it's time to earth up my first early potatoes. Earthing up the potatoes just means putting more soil around the newly emerging shoots to help protect the potatoes underneath. We want to protect the potatoes from any light getting to them. If light gets to them, then they can turn green and they're not good to eat. Here I have earthed these ones up right up to the top shoots, and over here it was a really tall stalk, so I've earthed it up quite high. I'm going to add a little tiny bit more now, and this will protect the potatoes underground. My next job is to fill this octagonal pot with some compost, and I'm going to plant my sweet peas in here. First I'm putting in 8 canes for the sweet peas to grow up as support around the pot, and then I'm going to tie them together at the top. I then put my very leggy seedlings into the pot and tie them on. Hopefully these will look really lovely in a few months' time. After taking another quick moment to enjoy this beautiful view, I decide it's time to harvest my forced rhubarb. Taking the top off, looking at these beautiful shoots, I'm going to now twist them gently at the base and they come away really easily. And I'm going to harvest all of the ones that look large enough to eat and take them back to the house to prepare for our tea. Whilst I do this, my husband lights our fire pit and I chop up some wild garlic picked fresh from the garden to make some wild garlic pizza bread for our tea. On the fire we put some bread, some passata, top it with cheese, oregano and the wild garlic, and it makes an absolutely delicious tea. And the perfect end to the perfect day in the garden. Rhubarb cooked with sugar and water and served with some hearty warm custard. Happy Easter everyone, thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you next week for my garden jobs for April. Have a great week, bye bye.